Hey, once again, everyone, it is 21 News. Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm here with the video we call Weather for Weather Geeks. It is Thursday evening, and it's the 21st of March, but it felt more like February 21st out there for today. It was a very chilly day, and we're going to have a real roller coaster ride temperature-wise over the next few days. First, let's take a look back, as we oftentimes do when there's something notable in weather history on a certain date. And on today's date, we set a record high back in 2012. Now, if you remember March of 2012, it was an exceptionally warm March. Ended up something like 12 degrees above average for the month as a whole. And when we reached 80 on the 21st, it was the second consecutive day we had reached 80 degrees on our way to 4 days in a row with highs in the lower 80s back in mid-March of 2012. That was some kind of a month. And unfortunately, nothing like that today. In fact, we've now had 4 cooler than average days in a row this week. The first time we said that in quite a while. I have to look back. It may be since January, since that 10 days of winter that we had, all of winter in January. It may be since then, since we've had 4 consecutive days with highs below the average. But of course, with all the warmth we had during the first half of March, we're still 9.5 degrees warmer than average, and we're still in 4th place on the list of warmest Marches through today's date on record. And that number is going to change, of course, with the cooler temperatures today and tomorrow, and generally no extreme warmth expected for the rest of the month. Will probably not end up in the top 5 for warmest Marches, but certainly the month got off to a very warm start. Once again, this evening we're going to cover some aspects of severe weather. It is Severe Weather Awareness Week in the state of Ohio. Our topic this evening, first of all, is flooding. We've been talking about tornadoes and lightning this week. Let's talk about flooding, which is kind of one of those aspects of severe weather that can kind of be underestimated. Water, especially moving water, very, very powerful. And no doubt, sometime this spring or this summer, or both, we will get fresh pictures and video from someone driving across a roadway that they shouldn't be trying to cross, and either they're going to get stuck or barely make it. It's just inevitable. It happens every year, not only here locally, but in other parts of the country as well. And, we try to use the phrase, turn around, don't drown, as something that's easy to remember. Now, it's tempting. You're coming along and you see some water on the road, and you see the other side of the road looks dry, and you just want to get where you want to go. And it's tempting to just drive through it. But, we see just every single year people don't understand or underestimate how deep the water is, and they get stuck. Now, if the water's moving, it can carry away even large vehicles. A few feet of moving water is enough to carry away big SUVs and big vehicles. And, of course, anytime you see officials having a roadway barricaded, you don't want to try to drive around that. There's a reason why it is barricaded. All right, other aspects of severe weather. We like everyone, of course, to know where they are on a map. That's one of our challenges in weather communication is we show a lot of maps. It's just the nature of the beast. But the average person is not super great at geography. It's frustrating for us, but, we're good at geography as meteorologists. We study maps, we look at maps, we know where roads are, we know where cities are, we know what counties are, what all the county names are, things like that. But the average person is not that attuned to geography. And one of the aspects of our local geography that I like to remind people of is where your official warnings come from. They come from the National Weather Service. But the National Weather Service, 2 different offices cover our viewing area. The Cleveland office covers Trumbull and Mahoning County. And then the Pittsburgh National Weather Service office covers the rest of our viewing area, which includes Columbiana County, Mercer, and Lawrence County over in western PA. And so anytime you get a severe thunderstorm warning, tornado warning, anything all the way down to a freeze advisory, the minor stuff to the major stuff, they all come from those National Weather Service offices that serve different counties in our region. All right, pretty calm weather today, but of course, it was cold outside. We had temperatures no higher than the mid-30s this afternoon. Some local thermometers got down into the teens this morning. We do have a crystal clear sky overhead this evening, and so I'm recording this video about 20 minutes before sunset. Once the sun goes down, temperatures are going to drop really quickly. A good radiational cooling night tonight with a lack of cloud cover, pretty calm winds as well, and the ground is pretty dry. So I think we're going to wake up tomorrow morning with some pretty cold temperatures, maybe even colder than this morning. Now, here's a look at some individual locations and kind of what you can expect tomorrow morning. And I think some of these numbers are even a little bit high. I wouldn't be surprised if some nooks and crannies in Mahoning County got down to 20 or 21, maybe even 19 in some spots. Same idea once you go up into Trumbull County. There's some locations in through here especially, kind of to the west of Mosquito Lake that are kind of infamous for getting pretty cold at night. And so could someone see 18 or 19 in through there tomorrow morning? Yeah, absolutely. Now, this is nowhere near record territory at this time of the year, but it's pretty cold, and I think this will be our coldest morning until sometime next fall or early next winter. Same idea, Mercer County, somewhere in the upper teens and lower 20s as our Friday gets underway, and down in Columbiana County, where you have some terrain down here, some sheltered valleys are a little more common once you get south of Route 30 down into the southern part of the county. And in those sheltered valleys, there was 15, 16 degrees in some spots this morning. It'll be probably just as cold tomorrow morning in those traditionally favored cold spots. But we do have a warm front coming our way on Friday, so despite that frigid start, the afternoon will be better than today. Now, I think there's going to be a temperature gradient across our viewing area. I think there's going to be a spread tomorrow afternoon because of the placement of this warm front. I think, northern Trumbull, northern Mercer may struggle to get out of the mid-40s tomorrow afternoon, whereas a place like Salineville, East Liverpool, Elwood City, places like that could see 54, 55 tomorrow afternoon. Could be about a 10-degree spread from north to south. But this warm front will usher in some rain towards the end of the day. I think you can get in those outdoor activities just fine for most of the day, but by about 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, those rain chances will start to ramp up, leading to a wet period for the evening and the overnight. This could end as a brief period of a wintry mix or a few snowflakes late at night. No big deal. It won't be impactful at all. And Saturday will start with clouds and end with sunshine. Another clear, great night for radiational cooling. Saturday night, Sunday morning. I think that night will not be quite as cold as tonight, but it'll be cold. We'll get well down into the 20s, I think, Sunday night into early Monday morning, or Saturday night into Sunday morning, I should say. Sunday night into Monday morning, also looking a little bit on the cold side. All right, so weekend forecast, 40 on Saturday, 48 on Sunday. This is cold stuff, that high of 40 on Saturday. For this time of the year, our averages are rising so quickly at this time of the year, it's easy to lose track of them, but we're now at about 50 for our average high on the 21st and 22nd and 23rd of March. And so 40 is about 10 degrees below the average. We'll be closer to that average with wall-to-wall sunshine coming up on Sunday. Let's look ahead to the longer range, and I mean the longer range. This is our first outlook for the month of April. Now, you don't see any blue on this map. No one in the U.S. is favored to have a cooler than average month. Now, could someone have a cooler than average month? Yes, but odds don't currently favor that anywhere across the lower 48 states. For us locally, odds favor the month coming out on the wash as warmer than average, but I think this will be kind of the inverse of March. The first half of March, warm. The second half of March, not as warm. April is going to be the opposite, I think. The first half of April, probably not that warm. In fact, probably some pretty cool weather at times, first half of April. I think the second half of the month will definitely have a better chance of seeing warmer than average temperatures, and that may tilt the month towards it being warmer than the average. In terms of precipitation, as the growing season tries to get underway, a lot of times that official start of growing season, in other words, our last freeze of the season, sometimes that occurs in late April, sometimes it's more in the first week or two of May. But, regionally, not a strong signal in terms of precipitation for April. If I were hedging my bets, I would bet a little more on the drier side than the wetter side in April. Wetter than average conditions, more favored off to our south, closer to the southeast and the Gulf Coast. We'll be watching the emergence of some pretty dry weather, I think, this spring and this summer, starting where you see it in April, and that dry weather may try to spread pretty far to the east as we head towards summer. I'm still concerned in the longer range about late spring and summer and a potentially pretty dry period, and I am concerned about a pretty hot summer as well. I talked about that a week or two ago on Weather for Weather Geeks, and as we get closer to the summer season, we'll talk more and more about those risks. In the meantime, thanks for hanging with me on this extended edition of Weather Geeks on this Thursday evening. Have a great night, everyone. I'll see you right back here on Friday.